Hi, and welcome to another in the Geek Room. Okay, today, I just wanted to do something different because I was doing a little bit of thinking the other day. Actually, it was yesterday, and what hit me was that because I went to a geek shop. I define them as geek shop. Science fiction. I don't know what the younger people call them today, but they're real geek shops. Actually, I've been to quite a few in the last few days. Check out my video for the Star Wars exhibition in Leicester, and you'll see because of course there's a Forbidden Planet in Leicester, and I went in there, and you go into HMV and you can see the rise of the geek culture. I just want to show you a few things to prove a point, stuff that you probably couldn't get 20 years ago. Bookshop called The Work. That's where I get my notepads from. This is from there. It's got that. It's got the Marvel characters on it. This is my new one that I currently use. This is the old one, which a lot of my in the geek rooms do. As you can see a bit of a thing here going on. So you've got that. You've got my fiance. See, this is all in one take. You got my fiance's notepad, Harry Potter. Those are from the works. You got geeky little things like this, which I got from a supermarket. Got these. These are the bread and butter of Comic Cons, as well as supermarkets and geeky science fiction shops. I've been to two in the last month that literally concentrate on Funko Pops. Got the likes of these because comic books. I mean, £3.50, £4 for comic books. Last time I was reading the individual issues, they were like 75, 85p, and that was about 20 years ago. And of course, the likes of this geeky chef strikes back. Stuff that are readily available everywhere. And this is the thing, when I was collecting comic books I've read comic books most of my life, but I was seriously collecting them from 1987 to 1997, 98 till I ran out of money at university, and literally you'd have to travel miles. I was traveling to Leicester to get them. Talking late 80s to mid 90s, there was it was just early 90s, early to mid. There was three at one point. It was early 90s. I get it right. There was three comic book shops in Leicester. You could literally well, there was always a Forbidden Planet in London for as long as I can remember. But there was one in Nottingham. I think it was Another World. It was Another World. It was Another World and Final Frontier in Leicester because there was two Final Frontiers, one Another World. The Another World became Forbidden Planet. But nowadays, with the rise of Comic Cons and the geek culture, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, of course, Star Wars when that was the big when it started to gain momentum in '97. Although anyone knows that Star Wars never really died, it just was a good fizzling under between 1983 and 1995. And '95 was the year of the end of it when the three-quarter Kenner Hasbro figures came back out. So, but what I'm saying is that nowadays you've got literally where I live. There's been two geek shops opening, mini geek stalls opening up in the last 2 months. So it's kind of like the culture is big, and you see forever, especially these things, the Funko Pops. You see them everywhere. You do, especially at Comic Cons and stuff. So it's this is not mine for the record. This is my fiance's. It was handy, but yeah, Ginny Weasley, Funko. You see these everywhere, and it got me thinking. Back in the '80s, you literally did have to go to these specialized shops. You had to travel. You did. This is when the geek culture was. We were the outsiders, but stuff there are. So I mean, the whole argument now is the kids that grew up with it and now got disposable income. That's why things cost so much. And now, thanks to, I mean, I argue in parts that mainly it's the geeks that grew up with Star Wars started collecting them in the late '90s again, and it's all like they made these sort of things. And Funko's a prime example of stuff that's meant to stay in the boxes, but you can open them up, but they don't really have that much playability. Look at the Harry Potter ones, and a lot of the Harry Potter merchandise or memorabilia, whatever you want to call it, toys on some occasions, except for some of the Harry Potter the ones, yeah, more for display purposes. But you look at all that sort of stuff, and the market is huge. It's for people that have got money and the geeks that save up all their money. Yeah, get a house, then you realize how much money you really don't have. Or if you've got a house, then you can still afford it. Excellent. Let me know what job you got. This is the sort of thing, it's the culture. I mean, I do think that the market eventually is going to crash when the next thing comes along. But it's kind of funny, like the point when the X-Men came out in 2000 after the big superhero drought after Batman and Robin killed it all off, except the likes of Blade. And you see that compared to now every other film at the cinema is actually a superhero film and science fiction. When that had its lull period, and now it's like that's it. You've got fantasy, science fiction, not so much young adult after the Divergence actually failed. But it's like following trends. Cinemas are just full of blockbusters. When you had your one or two event movies a year, it's just like cinema seems to be packed with event movies. But this is going off track. I mean, it's interesting to see the way the geek culture has become with the acceptance now. When Iron Man came out, and the original, we had Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, then you had one a year. Now at the moment, this year we've got two MCU films. We've got two MCU films, actually probably three, maybe. Don't know. I just know at the moment until I get my notes back out. It's Captain Marvel and Avengers 4. And then we've got New Mutants if that comes out, and the Dark Phoenix from the X-Men franchise, and then of course you got the Disney buy-up, so it's going to be interesting where that goes. As well as this year, next year you've got the DCEU or DC Universe or whatever they're deciding they're going to call it now. But it's fascinating the way the geek culture has become this huge thing. I loved it when I was a kid. If it had this sort of acceptance, rather than being like the comic book fans were the outsiders and stuff. I mean, you look at how dated the likes of, if you haven't seen it, watch these two films, Fanboys and Mallrats. Fanboys set in 1998, 99, 99, and Mallrats, which came out in 97, 96, 95, 96, one of those. I'm sorry, I haven't got the notes off the top of my hand. This is one take. I see that's one take. So, if you look at the fan culture and the geek culture in 95, 96, when Mallrats came out, sorry, Kevin Smith, I can't remember the year. Even though I had it on a poster on my wall at university, so it was definitely, I know it was pre-Chasing Amy, so it's pre-97. So, yeah, so if you look at the geek culture then, I mean, Mallrats is a prime example of what the geek culture was like at that point. And great Stan Lee cameo in Mallrats. If you haven't seen Mallrats, watch Mallrats. It's a great film. And of course, Fanboys, another great film. Like you look at it then, and compared to the culture now with the Netflix documentary about Funko Pop, that's, a great to go see where we were to where we are. And, it's... I'm just waiting for the likes of the what to drop out of this culture. But and people getting dressed up, adults getting dressed up. My God, if you got back 20 years ago and said there'll be people making money off of it, especially models that have their Instagram profiles. Okay, Instagram and the way the social media and the internet has moved since the mid-90s. Wow, and the way films are consumed. Again, going back to the whole geek culture thing, you would not believe it. And it's if you're a geek, it's a lot easier to get a girlfriend or a partner or a boyfriend, whatever your gender or sexual orientation is. It's easier to find like-minded people because you've got the whole internet. So, the geek culture makes it so much easier to find someone that loves and shares the same interests you do. At one point, I'm wearing a Star Wars t-shirt with Chewbacca on it right now. I'm doing videos about the things I love, the geek culture, and if you go back 20 years ago and said you'd be doing these, I'd be doing these sort of things, you go, no way, because nobody would watch it, but it'd be a limited audience, because we were like that compared to like that. I like to think that it's the geek culture that at times, we dictate the way things are going, because it's a small audience that goes big. The only downside, which I don't like, is the hate that's being spewed, and it's easier for fanboys to spew hate out. That's my love, don't hate. If you don't like something, don't tell the world. It's, and if you do decide to tell the world when you're in a video or spew it, just don't give the hate to the actors and the producers and anyone that's involved in the film just because you don't like it, because there are people who actually like him. I like Jar Jar Binks. Ahmed Best. I think Ahmed Best, as Jar Jar Binks, and the character is really not that bad. Not enough to spew hate at. And Kelly Marie Tran, Ryan Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, all people that have had hate thrown at them. Don't do that. It's not cool. If you don't like a film, don't like a film. A lot of people are kicking up a stink about Jodie Whittaker as Doctor Who. I can't wait to see Jodie Whittaker. She was great in Broadchurch. So her as Doctor Who, love it. Really do love it, and I can't wait to see where Chris Chibnall takes the characters. But, you go on the boards and you see all the hate. So no, just don't bring the hate. Bring the love. Peace and love. That's my only complaint about the way the fanboy culture's gone. Is you need to have more love, less hate. But that's always my opinion, because God knows what's going to refer back to them. So I wish I was growing up. I wish when I was at university, I had the comic book shops the way they are now in the culture. It'd be so much easier. It would be. So that's my little rant, my little thing about how the geek culture has moved on since I was a kid, or since I was young. Yeah, I do remember Bantha tracks. The only way you could actually uh, keep up with Star Wars with a fan club newsletter, and that was only quarterly. So stuff like that, I do kind of miss the smaller times and everything, and the big wait when for the event movies, which were hardly, and I do miss it. But geek culture, the bottom will fall out of it eventually, but let's just ride the wave and enjoy it while we can. And good luck to all you small owners of these small shops that keep popping up. I hope you stay in business, because it's good for the culture, and it's a good place where you can actually meet like-minded people, especially when they do the Comic Cons and stuff. Because I do like to have a collection. I do, I pick up leaflets, because you got to support the local traders, and the traders keep them all in business. As well as record stores. Buy vinyl, buy CDs, support your local record stores, because that's the one thing. Downloads, I understand how easy it is, but nothing beats going into a record store. So that's my little rant about that. So that's been a little bit of a rant and a little bit of in the geek room thing. Did it on one take, so I'm quite happy. So join me in another in the geek room where I'll no doubt be ranting or doing a review of something else. Click like and subscribe, the usual sort of thing. See you on in another in the geek room.